So here's the slide. It says AI is not a bubble. Dave, do you want to lead this description here?
It's not a bubble. Look at the slide. It's clearly not a bubble. God, Emad, I really want you to rip on this. But look, I was there. I was alive. I was actually building companies during the bubble. That's changed the course of my life.
The dot-com bubble, to be specific.
Also did. Oh yeah, not the tulip bulbs back in 17. All right, so 16, whatever. No, look, I was on the board of MicroStrategy. Check its history. Strategy.com got up to like a $14 billion valuation, I think with no revenue, or certainly near no revenue. This is not like that at all. Look at the red line on the right.
So just to describe it for our listeners, this is a graphic of Cisco showing its stock price going from $100 up to around $700. But at the same time, its stock price is peaking. Its 12-month forward earnings per share is pretty flat. So that's by definition a bubble. It's a hype bubble. On the other side of this image, we see NVIDIA. And what we see is that the price of NVIDIA is going up, and it's going up lockstep with the 12-month forward earnings per share. It's generating real revenue, real profits. So Emad, smack us with some knowledge here, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, I think stock market is a bit of a voting mechanism in the short term and calculating mechanism in the long term. What we see with these bubbles is it can be disconnected to the fundamentals. But the real thing here is AI is useful. People pay for it because it has economic value. That's why even when you look at the $100 billion of NVIDIA money going into OpenAI, that feels like back in the dot-com bubble, we had this round tripping of revenue, but it never created economic value. Every single GPU that OpenAI uses will be booked out because it can do so many things economically. And that's why this is not a bubble. It's a transition from one type of economy to another type of economy. And I think that's what a lot of people just haven't figured out. And this is before we see that inflection point of what Mustafa talked about earlier, what Brian's working on, of this incredibly long-term kind of planning agent capability that can do really complicated stuff. So I think this will just continue. There will be some weirdness. And when your kind of taxi driver starts talking about generative AI digital assets, that's when you probably know that it's going to be a bubble.
Yeah, when your mom starts talking about, should I invest in this company? That's crazy.
Well, just some numbers. Just because it was part of our lives, or part of my life. The hottest company in the world by far was Yahoo back in the internet bubble. And, it's hard to imagine that now, but Yahoo was the dream of all dreams. And it went public at a $300 million valuation, laughable. And then on day one, it got to $1 billion. It was trading at $1 billion. The press went like crazy, like this. That's insane. It has less than 100 employees. How can it be worth $1 billion? That's nuts. So then after that, they got super acquisitive, bought a whole bunch of assets, got all the way up to about $110, $120 billion valuation at the peak of the market there. And then the capital got cut off almost overnight. And then 9/11 happened. Yeah. And the market imploded. So it went down 95%. And then, pretty quickly after 9/11 recovered again and settled around asset value, so around $50 billion. Okay, so then, not much happened after that. Eventually got acquired, whatever, gone. So Jensen now is on top of the world. He's investing $100 billion into OpenAI, buying everything, which diversifies that value, $4.5 trillion valuation. So, not only are the revenues and the earnings very real at NVIDIA, but they're also diversifying and aggregating power and equity stakes at an incredible clip. So, and it is priced to perfection. That's also true too. But the foundation here is very real. Nothing's going to change the world more than what's going on right now. It is definitely not a bubble. It's not even vaguely like a bubble.
There's one way you can tell a bubble, and that's when people come up with brand new statistics, like Yahoo is valued per eyeball. So if NVIDIA is valued per transistor, then we know there's an issue.
Brian?
I think people miss the latency between the CapEx involved in creating the internet and the value that came out of the internet, right? The dot-com bubble, like by any means, if you dollar cost averaged in the year 2000, even the height of the bubble and then waited 10 years, you had fantastic outcomes, right?
Yes,
but the latency between CapEx right now and earnings is almost immediate, right? Because they're able to translate that. All of the advertising engines are able to translate it almost immediately into additional earnings. So this is just a timing, and the timing for AI, basically payback is immediate.
Yes, I want to double down on what Brian just said, because I thought I was the only guy on the planet saying this. There was no bubble. The internet changed our lives more than anything in prior technology. What it was is a catastrophic loss of confidence in our own investment community. And then 9/11 happened right in the middle of it. And we just lost faith in what turned out to be the best investment. And that's when Google was born, right in the
Amazon.
bottom of that. Yeah,
Yep.
Amazon.
Yeah. To Emad's point, it's a voting mechanism, right?